Hello and warm regards from Next Styles team. Welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis. Today is 26 September and let's see the news that we are going to cover today. The first topic is rail-based launch system. Now this is a news because India is now capable to launch missiles from the railways itself. This is a unique capability and only a few countries in the world have this. The second topic is the census definition for urban areas. How do census defines it and what are the challenges and limitations of that definition? The third topic is the Indian-Moroccan relationship. Our Defence Minister Shri Rajnath Singh ji is in Morocco to inaugurate the India's first overseas defence manufacturing system. So we are going to see where is this manufacturing unit and what are its implications. The next topic is the cancer cases in India. The Lancet study has pointed out that the cancer cases in India are rising and globally they are declining. So we are going to see what are the reasons in that and how we can tackle that. And lastly, in the decoded section, we are going to discuss about the Northeast region. What are the reasons for it not being developed, why it has not become a manufacturing hub, and how we can make it, and what are the government steps that are being taken. So let's start with the first topic, that is the rail-based launch system. The first topic is rail-based launch systems. Now, India is in the league of selected countries which is having this particular system. That is the backdrop for this news. The backdrop is India develops the rail-based launch capability. The other countries include Russia, USA, China, and North Korea. Now, India is also in this link in which India can launch its missile directly from the railways. So that is the capability that we have developed. This topic is relevant as we know from GS prelims as well as GS paper 3 achievements of Indians in science and technology, indigenization of technology in the defense sector. Now, the news is that this particular launch operation was carried on 24th September 2025 and the agencies involved were DRDO and Strategic Forces Command. The missiles involved was the Agni Prime missile, which is having a strike capability of 2000 kilometers. India from a railway system has launched this particular missile and it was a successful experiment. Now, what is this particular experiment? It is first of all, it is first of its kind. What do you mean by first of its kind? First of its kind means that India has not done it before, that it is the first time that India is doing this. Now, what is this particular rail-based mobile launcher? It is an independent platform. When we say the word independent, it means that all the things that are required for launching a missile are available on this particular platform. So, in the railway bogies itself, all the things that are required for launching a missile are available. They include things like communication system, protection mechanism, independent launch features. So all these are available on this particular independent platform. We have other independent platforms like submarines are there. We can directly launch the missiles from submarines. We know aircrafts, air to air. Then we have ground-based mobile launchers which are basically based for roads. We had the road capability. Now we are having the rail capability elsewhere. So we are having these independent platforms for missile launches. Now, India has added one more feather in it. The railways can also be used as independent platforms for launching the missiles. Now, next is what is the strategic significance? The strategic significance, first of all, is the second strike capability. What is second strike capability? It is that if particular country launches, or basically the neighbors, if they strike India first with a nuclear weapon, then India will be having the second strike capability, that India can sustain, India can absorb that particular strike and India can strike back. So that is the second strike capability, कि हम दूसरा वार कर सकते हैं उनके ऊपर. When we are saying that we are having the second strike capability, how the railway launch system is going to provide us? It is a secure thing because when we are having the fixed silos where we are storing our missiles, they are somehow being traced by the enemy countries. So they are going to strike on those particular areas which are having our fixed silos where the missiles are being stored. Now, when we are having these mobile independent launch systems like railways, submarines, or aircrafts, or the road capabilities, then they are movable, they are mobile, they can be at any place. So, to neutralize those platforms, it becomes difficult for the enemies. So that's why it provides us with the second strike capability. Secondly, it also enables India, reinforces India's commitment of no first use nuclear doctrine. Second is enhanced survivability, because mobile platforms are harder to detect and to be targeted than the stationary silos, as already we have discussed. I have already told you that 5 countries are having this particular capability. First one is USA, second is Russia, third one is China, and fourth one is the North Korea. Now, India is also having this capability. So, India is the 5th country in the world which is having this particular capability of railway launch systems. Now, next is what are the advantages of this rail based launchers? We have to compare it for seeing the advantages. Already we know one comparison is with the stationary silos. Stationary silos means these are those places where we are storing our missiles, from where we can launch our missiles. Now, another one is mobile launchers, and mobile launchers include rail, road, and air capability. Rail, road, air, and water capability, and water includes submarines and ships. So, we are having these mobile capabilities, and we are having all the capabilities. Now, we have to compare how rail and road are, how rail is better than the road. First of all, India has a very, very wide railway network of 70,000 kilometers of railway network we have. Secondly, the roads have to be designed in a manner from where the missiles can be launched. There are potholes and other things for the maintenance of the roads, which somehow makes them, you can say, a little bit uncomfortable for missile launching. But with the railways, they are well maintained. So, they provide any time capability for us to launch the missiles in case we are being struck first. Secondly, camouflage and concealment. There are thousands of tunnels the railways are having. So, storing our missiles is easy for us. It will be difficult for the enemy country to detect where the missiles are being stored if they are being stored on the railways. Then the cost effectivity. They are cheaper to build and maintain compared to the submarine launchers. Submarine as well as the aircraft launchers. A submarine or you can say aircraft, both are very, very costly. Even a ship is also costly. So, in that comparison, cost wise also, the railways is better than the water one or the air one. Then lastly, rapid deployment. They can be rapidly deployed. We have a large network. The rail speed are also good that we have achieved. So, they can be deployed rapidly. So, that's why developing this rail based launchers, it is another feather in India's defense mechanism. Now, next is the Agni Prime missile, because this is a particular missile that have been used in this experiment or in this particular operation. So, first of all, it is a successor of Agni 1 missile. Agni 1 missile was tested in 1989. After that, this Agni Prime missile was brought in. Now, Agni Prime missile is better because it has the capabilities of Agni 4 and Agni 5. The propulsion and navigation technologies have been borrowed from the Agni 4 and Agni 5 missiles. So, it is better than the Agni 1 or Agni 2 missiles. Next is that specifications include it can carry a payload of 11,000 kgs. It is a 2-stage solid fuel propulsion system. Then the range is 1,000 to 2,000 kilometers, and warhead capability is also very diverse. We can have nuclear payloads, we can have high explosive payload, or we can have thermobaric payloads that can be mounted on this particular missile. So, it becomes important for us, and it is the part of the ballistic missile system. I hope you know what is the meaning of the ballistic missile and how it is different from the cruise missile. The ballistic missile is a missile in which the missile goes to the outer atmosphere and from there it returns back to the target. Whereas the cruise missile is the one which is the guided missile, which is guided along the earth's surface and stays in the atmosphere. So, this second one is the guided missile, this second one is the guided missile, and this one is the ballistic missile. So, this is the difference between two. So, in the ballistic missile, we have to launch it to a height that is that is in the outer atmosphere, and then under the effect of the gravity, the missile comes back. In the cruise missile, we have to provide the energy in the whole trajectory of the missile, and it is a guided missile. So, this is the difference between ballistic and cruise missile. The Agni Prime is a ballistic missile. The next is your turn. You have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. And let's move to the second topic. The second topic is about the definition of the urban areas. Now, why we are discussing? Because we are going to conduct census 2027. And in that context, we need the definition for urban areas. We need to identify what are the rural areas and what are the urban areas. Now, what is the backdrop here? The backdrop is that Census 2027 is going to retain the Census 2011 definition of the urban areas. So, whatever definition we have used in the Census 2011, that same definition will be used for this current census that is going to happen from the 1st January 2026. Now, relevance, GS urbanization, GS1 urbanization, their problems and their remedies. Now, let's move to the news. The news is that the Registrar General of India and Census Commissioner has asked the Directorate of Census Operation to retain the same definition for the urban areas for the Census 2027. That means the same definition that was used in Census 2011. Now, what the reason has been given? The reason is that to ensure the compatibility between the two previous census, because whatever definition we had in 11, based upon that we had the urban areas. So, we need to compare also how many urban areas were there in 2011 and how many have become in 2027. So, in these 16 years, what is the change in the urban area and the rural area makeup? So, to provide the basis for analysis of urbanization trends in the country. So, basically we need to know what is the urbanization trend in the country. Now, how do the census 2011 defines it? The census 2011 says that an area will be considered an urban area if it satisfies any of the two conditions. So, there are basically two conditions upon which an area can be defined as an urban area. One definition is the statutory town, the another is the census town. So, there are basically two definitions. If any area fits in any one of these definitions, then that particular area will be an urban area. Usko shahri area माना जाएगा. The first one is the statutory town. The statutory town means that these are formally notified as urban areas by the state government. So, how a state government defines that this particular area is an urban area? A law has to be enacted, and that particular law will establish either municipal corporation, municipal council or Nagar Panchayat. So, if any of these particular bodies are there in an area, that area will be known as urban area, and that urban area or urban town will be considered as statutory town. Second definition is the census town. Now, census has its own definition as well. It says that if in an area the minimum population is 5,000 people, secondly 75% of the main working population is engaged in non-agricultural activities. What are non-agricultural activities? These are industrial activities. So, there are industries in which most of the people are employed, or they are employed in the service sector, but they should not be employed in the agricultural activities. Third condition is that the population density should be at least 400 persons per square kilometer. So, basically based upon three criteria, the definition for census town has been given. The first criteria is the population. Minimum population should be 5,000. Second criteria is the work culture, the employment division that is there. So, the employment should be in non-agricultural sector only, and that is minimum 75% male population should be employed in the non-agricultural sector. The third one is the population density, that should be more than 400 persons per square kilometer. So, if these three conditions are being satisfied, that particular area will be known as census town. Now, to identify an area as a town, either it can be a statutory town or it can be a census town. Both the definitions are being accepted by the census, right? Now, next move to the next thing, that what are the limitations with this current definition of the urban areas. The first limitation is that we are dividing an area as either urban area or a rural area. But there are areas which are transiting from the rural area to the urban area. They are becoming urban area, but they have not fully grown into the urban area. Now, what happens when this thing is being done? In the urban areas, the governance system is different. In the rural areas, it is different. The rural areas are governed by the Panchayati Raj institutions, and urban areas have their own nagar panchayat, they have their own urban local bodies. So the urban local bodies govern the urban areas and the rural areas are being administered by the Panchayati Raj institutions. Now these urban local bodies have more powers, they have more funds, that's why they will provide better public service. The infrastructure will be better. The infrastructure in terms of education, health, road or any other thing, that will be better. So there will be better standard of living. In the rural areas, they have less powers, they have less funds and the scope of development with these things is less in the rural areas. Now think about those regions which are in between the rural and the urban areas. Those areas are not having proper kind of funding or they do not have the adequate responsibilities as well as power with the local bodies. That's why they, although the work culture, the societal culture is of urban areas, but they are still being lacking in the part of the public service or the infrastructure. So they are still under the rural areas influence. So that is actually hampering the urbanization of our country. So that is the challenge this particular definition is going to give. Now how it is giving that thing? Because when either the state is going to say that this is a statutory town or it will be defined as a census town. Now whenever a particular area is being considered as a census town, then what happens? Then that there is a pressure on the state government to make the urban local bodies to consider it as a urban local bodies. So जब census उसको define कर देगा that this particular area is a census town, then the local pressure will come on the state government and they are going to eventually make it a urban area. They are going to make it a statutory body, statutory town they are going to make it. So that is the benefit area gets when it is considered as a census town. So this particular binary kind of classification that we are having, that either an area is a urban area or a rural area, and the transitionary regions that we are ignoring, they are hampering the development of the particular area. Now there are areas which are hidden also. For example, मान लो for example you consider that there are 4 districts that are attached to each other. This is first, this is second, this is third and this is fourth. Now there is going to be an area which is having falling in these 4 districts, and this particular area is having the urban kind of features, urban nature uska hai is area ka. But when we consider this whole particular district, this particular district or particular town is having only a small portion which is urban, which is of urban type. That's why this area will be considered under rural area. Same with the other 3 also. So these clusters which are hidden urban clusters are also being ignored and they are also then lacking in the public service delivery and other particular benefits that an urban area gets. Then next is exclusion or delayed urban governance is there, that we have already discussed, that a census town remains administratively rural despite functioning as urban areas. Delays in municipalization leads to gap in planning, infrastructure and service delivery. Moreover, what the trend that we have seen is that even when an area has been considered as a census town, still it has not been converted into a statutory town. For example, if you see the figures from 2001 to 2011 in which the 2 censuses have happened, 251 towns were identified as census towns, but they continued to be under rural governance despite meeting the urban criteria not municipalized by 2011. So they still remained as the rural governing areas. Then West Bengal particular cases there, 526 in the census 2011 were identified as census towns and they are still under this thing. This is the sharpest increase among the states. They have still not been converted into they have still not been brought into the urban governance system. They are still under the rural governance system. When we say the rural governance system, it simply means the Panchayati Raj institutions. The next is the outdated workforce criteria is also there. The criteria that we had, that 75% of the men of the main population who are working should be employed in the non-agriculture activities. There are basically three terms that you need to remember. 75% of the male main working population in the non-agriculture activities. So this criteria does not include the women work, and also there are seasonal and mixed occupations also. Many of the people are employed in most of the time in the non-agriculture activities, but when the agricultural season comes, they give their efforts in the agriculture as well. So those mixed occupations are not being considered. So that is another cause. Even the basic example is the expansion of the gig economy and the app-based jobs in the semi-urban and rural areas. So these particular areas should be given the consideration of the urban areas, or at least pre-urban areas. That classification can be given to them. Now next is what are the implications for the census 2027? First of all, we need to revise the definition of these urban areas. So it has to be looked in again. Secondly, retaining outdated definition in the census 27 is going to risk, first of all, the misclassification. There will be misclassification. A lot of people will be again governed in the rural governance system. There will be undercounting of the urbanized areas, and also it will be excluding the rapidly growing settlements from proper governance and services. See, in the urban areas, we have the regularized colonies. In the rural areas, we are having unregularized colonies. So these kind of differences come. The sewerage system that is in urban areas is not probably present in the rural areas. So the kind of urbanization or the benefits of the urbanization are not reaching to these rapidly growing settlements. Now it's your turn to answer this question, and you have to answer it in the comment box. So let's move to the third topic. The third topic is Indian-Moroccan relation. Why it is in news? It is in news because Defense Minister Shri Rajnath Singh ji is on a state visit to Morocco. And the reason is very simple, because he, along with his counterpart, the Moroccan counterpart, that is Moroccan Defense Minister Abdul Latif, is going to inaugurate the Tata Advanced Systems Limited. It is a state-of-art defense manufacturing facility as Burchid. Now, why it is important? Because it is India's first overseas defense manufacturing facility. And what they are going to produce? They are going to produce wheeled armored platform. Now, why India is interested in this thing? India is interested because, first of all, Russia has been a traditional major supplier of arms to Africa. And now Russia is involved in war with Ukraine. Also, US has imposed sanctions upon it. Europe has also imposed it. In that context, there is a wider market, there is a wider vacuum in the defense market of the arms market of the Africa. And Africa needs a lot of things. Reason being, because Africa is a conflict-prone area. There are ethnic conflicts, there are conflicts between the government and the people, or the terrorist. So that's why it is in dire need for arms supply. It needs small arms, bulletproof jackets, armored vehicles, tanks, helicopters, so everything it needs. There, the India can fill this particular vacuum. And India has a competitive advantage also. Why? Because India and Russia have a very, very long collaboration in the defense manufacturing. BrahMos missile, the example we have, that India and Russia has developed it together, this BrahMos missile. Also, there have been the defense development that is done by India and Russia collaboratively. So that's why India has a competitive advantage in this particular area. Next thing is that why we have chosen the Morocco? Because Morocco is the gateway to Africa, and Africa is a potential market for the Indians' defense equipment. And after Operation Sindoor, the demand for India's defense equipments have increased because the reliability is very high. So that's why India is now exploring this particular sector. Now next is India's defense outreach to Africa. So India is expanding the defense exports to African nations. Africa represents opportunities due to historical links with India, strategic comfort level, and the neutral position of India in the global politics. Because India has always been seen as a friendly country. India has always been seen as a country which cherishes peace. India is seen as a country which always tried to provide security rather than igniting the conflicts. India has provided the maximum defense force, the United Nations Security Forces. So that's why the trust over India is very high. And in this context, the African countries, the African government will be more inclined to procure from India, the defense supplies from India. So that's why India's neutral position is going to help India in exploring this defense market of Africa. Now, next is the Indian-Moroccan relation, because this was about the defense engagement that we are having. Now, about India and Morocco has the diplomatic relations since 1956. So we have a long-standing relations, and we have cooperated in culture, education, and trade. For example, economic and trade relations, if we talk about, there is a bilateral trade which include textiles, phosphates, agriculture products, and pharmaceuticals. India is a major supplier of medicines and pharmaceuticals to the African countries and the low and medium income group countries. Then investment opportunities. Defense manufacturing and maintenance, repair, overhaul is going to provide the new defense opportunities for India, the new investment opportunities for India in Morocco. There is potential in infrastructure and renewable energy sector also. India is spearheading the International Solar Alliance, and Morocco is also part of that particular alliance. So in the renewable energy sector and in the infrastructure sector, India and Morocco can collaborate in a very constructive manner. Now, next is the cultural and educational ties. The cultural ties, India promotes its culture, festivities, yoga, and Bollywood in Morocco. Then education cooperation. India provides scholarship. There are student exchange programs that are happening. Academic partnerships are between the universities. So in this manner also we are collaborating. Tourism, there is growing interest among Indians and Moroccans in each other's heritage and culture and tourism destinations. Then science and technology, collaboration, the technology transfer, defense manufacturing, joint research initiatives. Opportunity to leverage India's experience with Russian origin defense system, that will be for the Africans. Now, next is, last part is the how Morocco is a strategic perspective for India. First of all, Morocco is a gateway to Africa and Europe. Secondly, India's engagement is going to help in expanding influence in Africa beyond the traditional partners. Then lastly, it will strengthen India's role as a neutral player in the geopolitics, not aligned to USA, China, or Russia or West binaries. So this is going to position India at the global level at a higher pedestal. Now, this is your turn to attempt this MCQ, and you to attempt it and post your answers in the comment box, and we are going to move to the fourth topic. The fourth topic is cancer cases in India. Now, this topic is in the backdrop that there is a study by the Lancet that has been published in the Lancet, and it says that globally the cancer cases are declining, but in India they are rising. There is a peak in these cancer cases. Now, this topic is relevant from the health point of view, GS paper 2 as well as GS paper 3. Now, next is about the news. The news says that the study was published in the Lancet newspaper, and it says that cancer cases at global level are declining. However, the rate is declining, but the cancer cases are going to increase. So there is a difference between the rate and the number of cases. So this rate of cancer cases, the new cancer cases that are coming up, that rate is declining at the global level. However, the number of cases are still going to increase. But the problem with this is that with India, this rate is also increasing. So cancer in India is increasing. So that is a concern for us. That is a red light for us, that we have to see that why these cases are rising and what we need to do to curb this thing. Now, this particular study has pointed out that the rate of cancer cases is declining at the global level because the high income countries, it is declining. For the low and medium income countries, the rate is increasing. So that is the point here, that these countries which are in this low and medium income group, for example India, in these countries we need to more focus upon tackling the cancer menace. Next is some data about it. For example, if you are comparing 1990 with the 2023, at the global level, the cancer was 220.6 per 1 lakh. So per 1 lakh population, there were 220 cases. Now this has decreased to 205. So it is saying the rate is decreasing. Whereas for India, it has actually increased. It was 84.8 and now it has increased to 107.2. This data can be quoted in your answers. Next is the total number of cases. There are 18.5 million cases of cancer in the whole world, that according to the 2023 data. For India, it is 1.5 million. Then cancer mortality, that is a death that happened due to cancer. So per 1 lakh people, 150 were dying in 1990 due to cancer. Now this has decreased to 114.6. 2020-50, it is expected that it will decline to 107.9. Now for India, if we talk about, it was 71.7, it has increased to 86.9. So that is the problem again for us, that in India the rate of cancer cases as well as the deaths related to the cancer are both increasing. So we need to focus upon tackling this problem. The total deaths, if you talk about in India, it is 1.21 million, that is 12.1 lakh. Next is the rising number of cases in India. What is the reason for that? First of all, we are seeing a population growth. So obviously, if the population grows, the number of people affected by the cancer are also going to grow. Also, our population is going to age. Then there is high prevalence of the modified risk factor. So what are these modified risk factors? These risk factors include things like lifestyle, health conditions, infections, and environment, the air pollution. So air pollution have carcinogenic pollutants like volatile organic compounds or nitrous oxide compounds. So all these environmental pollutants are also leading to rise in the cancer cases. Secondly, lifestyle. The use of tobacco, alcohol consumption, unhealthy diet, these are leading to more cancer cases. Even from the food perspective, there is food adulteration. We are eating processed food which is high in sugar as well as in salts, and they are having high level of vegetable oils which are harmful for a human being or for the health of the human being. So that's why we are seeing the number of cases are increasing. Then health condition. We are having a sedentary lifestyle. There is obesity, diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension, which is also leading to cancer. Then infections like HPV or hepatitis B or H. pylori. So these are also having carcinogenic effect. We can tackle these things through the use of vaccinations. Now next is prevention and mitigation priorities. First of all, public awareness is required. That is very much important. If people see anything that is not right, they should be going directly to a doctor. Then inclusive intervention is required. Include all the stakeholders. What do you mean by this thing? Currently, only the oncologists are involved in the treatment of the cancer. We should be involving every doctor in the treatment or in the identification of the cancer. Currently, when you go to the last stages, then you go for the oncologist. But if the cancer is identified or diagnosed in the initial stages, then the survival chances increase a lot. So we need to include all the stakeholders, the diagnostic kits, the diagnostic labs, the public primary health care, the secondary health care, the primary interaction between the doctor and the patient, all need to be involved with respect to the cancer. Then evidence-based screening should be there. Targeted population for the maximum benefit, that is required. Then healthcare system strengthening is also required. Diagnostics, treatment, adaptation, the medicines, they need to be made more economical, they need to be made more cheaper, so that the treatment can be done in a right manner. Then lastly, behavioral and environmental intervention is also required. Vaccination for HPV, hepatitis B need to be developed. Improve the air quality and hygiene, because this is one of the reasons due to which cancer is happening. And lifestyle modifications on the personal level should be done. If we are obese, if we are affected with diabetes, we should be taking care of our health and we should be focusing on physical exercises so that development of cancer can be avoided. Now with this, you are in a position to attempt this MCQ and you have to answer it in the comment box. And let's move to the last topic of the day in the decoded section. The next topic is Northeast states, role in the economy. Now this particular topic is in the backdrop, or you can say this particular article is written in the backdrop that India and USC are having trade negotiations. Now in these trade negotiations, the northeastern states, which are the border states, are not having any role to play, because they play a very minimal role in India's economy. And we are going to see Why it is happening? So that these states are not having export potential. These states are not able to contribute to the exports. These states are not contributing enough to the economy. So let's see that. Now, the backdrop is that lack of development in the northeastern region. The topic is from relevant from GS paper 3, regional development and growth. So first of all, about the news. The news says that the 4 states, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, these 4 states contribute maximum towards the export. 70% of the exports come from these 4 states only. And if we talk about Gujarat, it contributes 33% of the exports, of the merchandise exports that we have. So mainly the exports is coming out of only 4 states. That's why these are the developed states also. Second is that the states like Bihar or UP contribute hardly 5%. Even Madhya Pradesh can be included there. So these 3 states are contributing only 5%, maximum 5% to the exports of the country. And the northeastern states, these 8 states that we have, they contribute only 0.13%. So that is the area of concern. There is a regional discrepancy with respect to the industrialization, with respect to the economic potential, or you can say harnessing the economic potential. Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu are border states or coastal states. Same is the Kerala also. Andhra Pradesh is also a coastal state. Odisha is also a coastal state, but they are not contributing much to the exports. The export concentration is in these 4 states only. Now, this particular topic is written in the context of the northeastern states. What challenges they are facing, why they are not able to contribute it. So the reasons given by the author says that first of all, there is no operational trade corridor linking the northeastern states with the foreign states, foreign countries. For example, if you talk about the western side, from Delhi till Mumbai, we are having multiple projects. There is a DMIRC also. The dedicated freight corridors are also there, but these things are not being observed in the northeastern state. Those corridors that were in pipeline or that were to be implemented, they are also not seeing any progress. The reason being instability in the surrounding regions like Myanmar or Thailand, or for the instance say Bangladesh. Due to these reasons, the instability in these regions, these projects have not been completed. Then logistic infrastructure is lacking in this area to support the trade volume or policy influence. Then existing framework of the security apparatus, because mainly this whole area is being whatever the infrastructure is being developed, whatever things are being developed are developed from this security perspective only, because this area is affected by insurgency, this area is affected by the ethnic violence, the ethnic conflicts are there. So the security has become the main concern here. So whatever logistic that we are developing, the rails, the roads that we are developing, that are from the security perspective only, not from the economic perspective. The trade has never been a part of its mandate. Even in the recent US-India tariff deal that we are seeing, the northeastern state does not find any place. So that is a point of concern. Now let's go deeper into it. The points that you can write in your answers. The first one is the reasons for the lack of economic contribution of the northeastern state. First one is the geographic constraint. This region is landlocked. We are not having any access to the ports. Even the Chittagong port that we had has been given to Bangladesh. So at least if we had the Chittagong port, this particular region has got a connectivity. There are total 8 states here: Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura. And all these states have only one point of connectivity, that is this Siliguri corridor. This is a 18-kilometer corridor which connects the northeastern region with the rest of the India. So it is landlocked first of all. Secondly, there is a difficult terrain because there are Purvanchals in this region. Then there are Himalayas in this region. And there are the Meghalaya plateau is there. So only the Brahmaputra plains are left, which are plain. Other areas are having a rugged topography or having a hilly topography. So developing infrastructure in a mountainous region also become a challenge. So first of all is the geographical constraint. The second is the poor connectivity. Although we had these constraints, but still we can develop road, rail, and air transport, but we have not developed it. So there is an inadequate infrastructure in terms of road, rail, and air transport network. Then limited industrialization. When both of these are there, when there is a geographical constraint and along with there is a poor connectivity, why the industries are going to come to that region? So there is a limited industrialization. There is scarcity of large industries and manufacturing units. Only few natural resource based industries are there, or the tea plantations are there. Then infrastructure deficit is there. Insufficient logistics, storage, and warehousing facilities. And as we have discussed, the logistics and infrastructure is basically for the security purpose, not for the trade or industrial purpose. Then low investment. As we are not having all these things, the ecosystem has not developed. That's why the investment is also low. There's limited private and public investment due to perceived risk and remoteness. And this particular region is also having security concerns. The insurgency is there. Along with this region shares border with a state, with a country, that is Myanmar. And in Myanmar, there is no political stability. Also, it is a part of the Golden Triangle, that is the drug cartels are there. And these problems also affect the northeastern region. Then security concerns are there, we have discussed. Insurgency and the ongoing security issue in Manipur. Then small market size. There is low local demand which limits the economies of scale and production. So all these points are linked with each other. There is a geographical constraint, there is an infrastructure deficit, then there is an industrial deficit, then it is not creating conducive environment for investment. That's why low investment is there. Also, there is a security concerns, because when we are not having enough economic opportunities, then people are going to turn towards these things which relates to the security concerns. Then there is low demand because people are not having money. There is no economic activity, so demand will also be low. Then policy and bureaucratic challenges are also there. There are some projects which were in the pipeline, but they are still not implemented. The rail has come right now in the northeast, in the remote states of these Meghalaya, Manipur. Then dependence on agriculture is also there, because any other activity cannot be done. So predominantly agrarian economy is found in this particular region. The point is that, can we develop the northeast region? Yes, we can, because it has a lot of potential. Let's see the potential. The economic potential of northeast states include, first one is natural resources. It has a lot of natural resources like coal, limestone, petroleum, natural gas. Already we are exploring petroleum gas and natural resources. Meghalaya is having uranium resources also. Meghalaya is having limestones. So those resources can be harnessed. There's a lot of hydropower potential is there in the northeast region, and India is now focusing upon the development of this hydropower potential there. Then agriculture and horticulture, that is one of the area which is booming, because the demand for the horticulture products have increased. The demand for fruits or other horticulture products is now increasing in the country, because there are health concerns which the people are now addressing. So it is suitable for cash crops, bamboo, spices, tea is there, plantation crop, organic farming. Then tourism potential is there. It has scenic landscape, cultural diversity is there, wildlife attracting domestic and international tourists both. Then handicraft and cottage industries are there. Traditional craft, handlooms, and bamboo-based products can have a lot of export potential that we can vouch upon. Then strategic location, it is the gateway to the Southeast Asia. So we need to increase the connectivity of Northeast region to the Southeast Asia. Then renewable energy, high potential of the solar, wind, small power and hydropower projects that we have already discussed. Then forest and bamboo resources, there is abundant bamboo that can support the industries like furniture, paper and construction. Then waterways and river transport, potential for inland navigation and trade through Brahmaputra and Barak river is also there. Then fisheries and aquaculture, rich freshwater resources for fish farming and related industries can be done here. So the northeast region is having a potential, and we need to focus upon harnessing this potential so that the regional development of this area can be done. It has to be brought on the economic map of India. Then what are the government initiatives? That the government is taking. First of all, government considers Northeast India as India's beacon for the inclusive growth. India is focusing upon the Act East and transformation by transportation policy in this region. The first thing that we need to do is ensure there is peace and security in this region. That's why in the last 10-15 years we have seen a lot of things have been done to ensure that this region becomes stable and it is secure. So, for example, framework agreement with the National Socialist Council of Nagaland was done in 2015. Then Tripura Peace Accord in 2019, Bodo Peace Accord in 2020, Kirby Anglon Peace Accord in 2021. Do you know where this region is? Tell me where this Kirby Anglon plateau is. You have to tell me. Then Assam Meghalaya Boundary Agreement in 2022, Adivasi Assam Peace Accord, Dimasa National Liberation Army Peace Agreement 2023, United Liberation Front of Assam Peace Accord 2023, National Liberation Front of Tripura and All Tripura Tiger Forces Peace Agreement 2024. So, first thing that we need to do is to ensure there is peace and security in the country, in the state or in the region. When we have peace and security, then the role of AFSA is going to decline, and government is also pulling out from the regions which have become stable. First of all, it is going to save a lot of government's revenue. Secondly, when the peace and security are being observed, when the withdrawal of the forces is being observed, then a positive investment sentiment is also going to come in, and then the investment may come. The next is the infrastructure development. That is the second thing. The first one is peace, second one is infrastructure. Because in a conflict area you cannot have investment. Without infrastructure no one is going to invest. So on the investment part, Uttar Purv Transformative Industrialization Scheme is being run. In short, it is known as Unnati 2024. So a question can be asked, which of the following Unnati relates with which of the following? So it is development of the Northeast region, basically infrastructure. Then we are having Prime Minister Divine Scheme, that is Prime Minister's Development Initiative for Northeast region. It is a 6,600 crore scheme and the tenure is 2022 to 2025-26. Now the focus areas will be infrastructure development, then social development projects based on regional needs, livelihood enhancement for youth and women, and filling developmental gaps. So this is going to be the focus of PM Divine. So PM Divine किससे relate करेगा? With the development of the Northeast region. The next is infrastructure development के अंदर we are having hydroelectric projects, Bogi Bhil bridge is being built up, then roll on roll of waterway projects are being conducted, hydro projects are being done. Then we have already covered the Bogo Bhil and railway expansion is also being done there. Then other government initiatives include the Rising Northeast Investors Summit of 2025. Then we have delegates from 80 countries have come here. Then high level task force for sectoral growth is also there. This can be put in the answers. Then for agriculture and farming, focus is on organic farming. Then Vandhan Vikas Yojana is being implemented there. Northeast Region Agriculture Marketing Corporation Limited has been established for skill development, agri value chain and export promotion. Then we have Nectar, that is for the honey bees. So beekeeping project under the Northeast Center for Technology and Enrich is being implemented. Nectar you should be knowing. What is Nectar? Where it is related with. Then agarwood sector is there. On that also we are focusing. Export quota has been increased 6 times. So that, and also the export process has been simplified for this agarwood sector. Then next we are having is Northeast Development Financial Corporation Limited. The financial assistance to MSME consultancy and advisory will be provided through it. The next is government initiatives. Other initiatives include the social development, healthcare, Assam to have South Asia's largest cancer care network, 15 hospitals will be there. Then Mizoram has been declared fully literate under the Ullas Nav Bharat Saksharta Abhiyan Karyakram. You have to tell me which are the other states that have been declared fully literate under with the help of this Ullas scheme. That is your homework right now. Next is Northeast District SDG Index. 103 districts have been ranked as social economic, infrastructure, human and environmental dimension. From the point of view of culture and heritage, this is an important thing. The Moai Dams, they have been accorded the UNESCO World Heritage List. They have been accorded the UNESCO World Heritage status. They were included last year in 2024. What are these? These are the mound burial system of the Ahom dynasty in Assam. So this is a Moai Dams. So the question upon Moai Dams is pertinent. It can come anytime. Next is Rani Gaindilu Museum has been established, and Shiv Sagar iconic site has also been established. There is iconic tourism sites that are being developed across all the northeast states. So you can see there is Shergaon, then Kaziranga, Shora, then we have Thanzuwal, Moirang, Kohima, Namchal. So all these sites are being developed as iconic tourist site. Also, the 400th birth anniversary of Lachit Borphukan was also celebrated. So India is focusing on multiple areas. First one is defense. The another part was the infrastructure. Then the specific areas like agriculture and industries. Then we are focusing about the culture part so that the tourism can be enhanced. In that context itself, Handicraft and Handloom Development Corporation Limited have been established. And in this, the e-commerce portal, that is pubarshri.com, and Nature's Weave Design Center, mobile sales outlet, textile labs, calendar units have been established. Then Ashtalakshmi Mahotsav, that is B2B project proposal worth 2500 crore is being implemented. Lastly, we have Airy Silk Spinning Plant that will be spinning 200 kgs per day. The skill spinning will be done, and it is going to provide employment directly to 75 people, and a lot of employment to the indirect employment will also be provided. Now, based upon the discussion, you have to attempt this mains question. You can bring that question for us to evaluation also. And with this, we conclude for the day. Thank you very much.